All right, today we're tackling a really tough but important question about Nepal. After so many decades of political change and incredible sacrifice from its people, why hasn't everyday life really gotten better for the average person? Let's break down one analysis that tries to get to the bottom of it.
It's a real puzzle, isn't it? The people of Nepal have fought for huge political transformations, but that progress they were hoping for, that better life, just seems to be stuck. In this explainer, we're going to walk through an article that digs into why that is, and what a possible way forward might look like.
So, to really get why people are so fed up, we've got to take a step back and look at the history here. The analysis we're exploring paints this picture of a really long journey, one that's been full of high hopes, followed by some pretty big letdowns.
I mean, look at this timeline. Nepal has been through some massive, game-changing moments, from ending the Rana rule way back in '51 to bringing in multi-party democracy in 1990, all the way to becoming a republic in 2008. Every single one of these shifts was powered by people believing in a better future, and they sacrificed so much for it. But as this analysis points out, while the systems changed on paper, the real-world transformation just never seemed to fall.
Okay, so if changing the whole system of government, from a monarchy to a republic, wasn't the magic bullet, then what's really going on? The analysis we're looking at suggests the root of the problem is actually much, much deeper than the government structure.
And here it is, the core argument. The problem isn't the system. The real issue is a deeply entrenched political culture, the way the ruling parties think, the way they operate. It just never caught up with the new systems that people fought so hard for.
So what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, it means that instead of using the government to serve the public, the political parties started using it as a tool for themselves, to gain power, to reward their allies, and to look after their own interests. Public service, the whole point of it all, kind of got pushed to the side.
So what happens when that culture takes over? Well, this analysis shows how it seeped into and, frankly, damaged some of the most critical parts of society.
Let's start with education. This is supposed to be the bedrock of progress, a place where merit is all that matters. But according to this source, it's been seriously compromised.
Just think about that. The analysis claims that getting a job or a promotion as a teacher started to depend more on which political group you were part of, not how good you were at teaching. Your career wasn't about competence, it was about connections. And of course, that directly hurts the quality of education for everyone.
And you know, this wasn't just happening in schools. The article suggests this exact same pattern spread to another incredibly sensitive area, our health.
It's the same story here. The author claims that key decisions, like who runs a hospital or where doctors get sent, were being driven by political pressure. And when politics gets in the way of healthcare, it's the ordinary citizens and their fundamental right to health who pay the price.
The analysis then turns to another cornerstone of any healthy democracy, the media, the press.
The argument here is that the media lost its way. Journalist groups became so divided along party lines that they stopped being objective watchdogs. Instead, they started sounding more like spokespeople for the political parties, and that, of course, makes it really hard for the public to get fair, unbiased information.
So you put all this together, politicized schools, politicized hospitals, a politicized press, what do you get? You get a nation and its people who are deeply, and I think we can all agree, understandably frustrated.
And you can see the results pretty clearly. Corruption isn't just a problem, it becomes part of the system. A culture develops where it feels like the powerful can get away with anything. This naturally leads to deep public distrust and cynicism, which finally just boils over into these massive youth-led protests, what the article calls the Gen Z movement. A huge collective cry of enough is enough.
But you know, out of all that frustration, something else starts to grow. A real hunger for something new, a genuine desire for a real alternative.
And you can see the contrast so clearly here. People are starting to imagine a move away from that old culture, the one based on party interests, connections, and power-sharing deals. And they're looking toward a new system, one that's actually built on public service, on meritocracy, on independent institutions, and on transparent government that follows the law.
And the analysis we're looking at doesn't just talk about this in the abstract. It points to real-world examples like the Rashtriya Swatantra Party and leaders such as Balan Shah as evidence of this shift, as a sign that the public is really hungry for a new kind of leadership.
But here's a crucial point the article makes. Just getting new leaders isn't the whole solution. Real, sustainable change demands a fundamental shift from the citizens themselves, and that starts with some clear, decisive reforms.
The author lays out 3 really bold ideas. First, legally get rid of all those party-affiliated professional groups to get politics out of our schools and hospitals. Second, make every single state appointment based purely on merit and transparency. No exceptions. And third, stop just talking about zero tolerance for corruption and actually enforce it.
And really, it all boils down to this one core concept: discerning civic awareness. It sounds a bit academic, but it's a powerful idea. It's about citizens who don't just follow blindly. It's about people who look at the facts, who judge leaders on their actual performance, and who aren't afraid to actively hold those in power accountable.
There's a really strong quote from the author that just nails this point. It's a call to action, really. A call for citizens to shift their mindset from being passive followers to being active, conscious participants who will fearlessly stand up to what's wrong and champion what's right.
So in the end, this analysis doesn't just point fingers at politicians. It turns the mirror back on all of us. And it leaves us with a really important question to think about. If the future of a nation truly rests on its discerning citizens, what does being that kind of citizen actually mean to you? Thanks for watching.